This is a video on the Baridi by Dellonda beer dispenser, and it's going to be an overview or a help guide on everything about the machine, how to fit your gas, how to fit your kegs, and general information about what everything does, how to clean and maintain. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by showing you the controls and the dials, and what this machine will do is it will fit all 5 litre kegs, whether they're pre-gassed or they need gas. Okay, up here you have your gas regulation switch. This determines how much CO2 flows into your keg and obviously comes out the tap at the end. Just be careful not to smash it all the way up to the top, assuming you've got to put loads of gas in it, because you don't. You just subtly turn it, and sometimes you'll hear the gas flowing through. You don't want to whack it all the way up to the top, because the likelihood is you're going to get a frothy, foamy beer. But I'll show you how the CO2 fits on in a minute. Below here you have the temperature display. This unit goes down to 2 degrees. What you can do is, and I'll show you this when I open it up, you can fill it with water. And what that does is that water, that will create like a cooling jacket around the keg. The water will cool down and it will keep the keg cold. Just remember, if you're putting a keg in at room temperature and you're putting your water in straight from your tap, it's going to take a number of hours to cool down to 2 degrees. So if you've got a family barbecue or a party, or you want people over, don't put your keg in an hour before at room temperature and expect your beer to be nice and cold. It's not going to happen like that. The best thing to do is put your keg in the fridge a number of hours before, so it's already chilled. Use cold water when you're filling the machine up, and it's just gonna be a lot quicker. But ideally, you want to put your keg in a couple of hours before anyway, just to let the beer settle and cool down, and then it will come out a lot smoother, and you'll get a better quality pour. Below that, we have the button to open the machine up. Here is where you will fit your CO2 canisters. With the machine, you get 3 canisters supplied. General rule is each canister will last as long as the keg. What you don't want to do is be pulling out the canister while it's still got gas in it. That's where you could end up with freeze burns. And not only that, as you pull the gas out, it will put freezing cold air and maybe burst the seal. You do get seals and extra bits supplied with the machine, but try not to pull the canister out while there's still gas in it, because you could end up with an injury. Once the keg has run out, the gas has run out. So it's sort of a canister per 5 litres of beer. And so you get 3 of them supplied. So your gas would go in here, you would screw it back in, and as you screwed in, you would hear when the top of the canister gets broken. You would hear that noise. So that's where that goes. Then you've got your valves, which the CO2 would run down. Here you have a dispensing unit. It's like a T-pipe. This is what goes into your barrel. Now, an important thing to note is there is arrows on top of this which will show you the direction that you want the gas and the beer to flow. Important not to get that the wrong way round. You'll see the arrow, so it's the direction you want the beer to flow. That would go into the barrel. You connect everything up, and you're ready to go. Here we have a drip tray, which is removable, so easy to clean. And here, once you've filled the machine with water, if you want to empty the water at the end, underneath the machine, there's a hole, there's a lever here. You switch that and the water will pour out the bottom, so you can empty your water. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll fill the machine with water. So, what you've got in here, you'll see, is a max line. And that's as high as you want the water to go. So we'll pour that in until you get to your max line. So the water's in there and we're ready to fit the keg. So, dispensing unit all the way down into your keg until it clips onto the keg. So it's nice and secure. Keep an eye on your arrows, which way you want the arrow to flow. And make sure your pipes are moved out of the way. The keg goes in. Arrows are facing the right way. Obviously there's water in there now. And then let's clip them in. So you're going in there. So we've now created the circuit. So now we want to fit the gas. Unscrew this, pop your CO2 canister in, and we're screwing till we hear that noise of it cracking at the end. There we go. Just heard it. Pop that up there. Down we go. That's at 2 degrees. So what we do now is just leave it. Leave it for a couple of hours, let everything settle, because you move the keg around quite a lot, and then we'll pour a pint. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours now. The keg's just had time to settle. The temperature on the display is reading 4 degrees, which is good. The gas regulation switch is set to just below halfway. So you're just listening out for that noise of the gas flowing into the keg. And we're ready to pour our first pint. Don't be alarmed if the first pint is a little bit foamier than you would expect. That's normal. For the first couple of pints, it might just be a little bit foamy to sort itself out. So you'll know if you've got the gas high enough or too low, because it'll be struggling to pour itself out. But we're looking good. And there we go, first pint with the Baridi beer dispenser. One thing to add is, obviously this keg I've gassed. You've seen obviously I've set the CO2. If you've got kegs that are pre-gassed, such as Heineken 5 litre kegs, we supply Heineken adapters because they don't need gassing. So you can leave your CO2 and you would connect these. We supply 3 of them in the kit, and you'd connect it straight into your pipe, tap end, and it will go straight onto the keg. You wouldn't need to worry about your dispensing unit, T-pipe, or your gas. So that lot can come out and you're just using these adapters. What we also supply is cleaning equipment. This will clean your pipe. When you're finished, see, I can see in here, when you're finished, you're left with beer residue. Hops can go mouldy in there. So what you want to do is fill your pipette with water and flush through when you're finished. Just flush through the system, open your tap up, obviously once your keg's out, open your tap up and just flush through the system. And that'll just ensure that nothing goes mouldy or clogs up in the pipes. Another important thing to remember about maintaining your beer dispenser is to ensure that your T-pipe also gets cleaned. It's all very well cleaning your pipes, but if the T-bar doesn't get cleaned, you're gonna have the same problem. So, to clean your T-pipe, what you wanna do is unscrew both sides. And in here you have a seal. You want to take out here and you have a spring. It's very important to remember which side of the T-pipe your spring comes out of, because one side has a stronger spring than the other. So you don't want to get them mixed up. So taking that off, and you can see there's a seal in there as well. So just ensure they're in good condition once you've finished pouring your beer. You could probably see here that this side has a stronger spring than this side. So you want to ensure that goes back the side you took it out of. What you want to do is basically just soak all that lot when you're finished. Just soak these, just make sure you get all the beer out of these, because I can see beer, you can see it leaking out there. And if you leave that for a few days, that's going to go mouldy. And you're gonna get problems. So yeah, just ensure that all this gets cleaned. You can take each part off, give it a good soak, make sure all your beer's out of it, and then when you go to put it in the next time, it's gonna be lovely and fresh. As I say, important to remember which spring goes in which side. So there's an arrow on top of your T-pipe, which will tell you which side's which. But that is pretty much everything. So key things to remember: don't set your gas too high. Make sure you leave the machine a couple of hours just to settle. Really important that, because otherwise you'll just get a foamy mess. And don't take the gas out when it's still halfway. As I say, let your keg run out and you know your gas has run out. Also, you'd hear if your gas has run out. When you turn this up, you get like a hissing noise. And obviously if it's not doing it, the likelihood is you've run out of gas. But that's everything. Hope that's been of help. Cheers.